Today on Life in Motion, you get to listen to two semi-old ladies meander down the path of kids and aging, and
we're going to talk about your 20s. We're going to talk about your 50s and everything in between.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Maybe a lot of nostalgia.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah. It'll be fun.
It'll be fun. So stick with us. Here we go. Oh my gosh, it's your birthday.
It's my birthday. It's my birthday. I have been getting ready for this birthday for like a year.
Yeah.
I've already considered myself 50.
Yeah.
For about a year. I've already...
Sometimes I think that's wise, because then when it comes, it's just like, you're not like, whoa. It's just like, yeah, of course, I'm 50.
I'm 50. I've been kind of telling myself I'm almost 50. You're just about 50. You're knocking on 50 for a year. It's not what I thought it would be.
Really?
It's, I thought, I think when I was a kid, I thought 50 would be old, grandma, and gray hair and everything. And
what parts of those things are wrong?
No, I'm not a grandma.
Yeah.
And my gray hair blends nicely with my highlights. So
okay.
There's no
fair
bun happening.
Right. That's like, have you seen that meme about Father of the Bride? And they're like, these parents are supposed to be 45 years old.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
I think that's what we grew up with was 40-year-olds were
over
ancient.
The hill.
They were over the hill. That
Yeah.
was the birthday parties that they got. Like if you turned 40, you were getting the black balloons and the funeral themed party. Like this is it. Downhill from here. You're on your way to the grave. And seriously.
That's fair enough. That was just such a way to say it.
And I think that
you were irrelevant. I don't know if you were on the way to the grave or not, but you became irrelevant.
You became irrelevant. Yeah. Like 30s were your prime. I feel like I'm still 20, but I've got 50 years worth of experience.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
I am just 29 forever. I'm just gaining more and more experience. Like I don't feel old. So here I am. I'm 50.
Yeah.
Now it's like now I want to be, I am on my way to the grave. I am halfway there. I have reached the top. I don't think I'll make it to 100. If I do, I am halfway there. Seriously. But I am. I'm like, but how do I?
This is a downer of an episode.
Well, but I'm planning on living my best life in these next 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, how much can I do and live in these next 10 years? It's like I'm in a totally different season than I have been for the last 20 plus, because my oldest is up almost to be 22. I've been in baby and little kid mode for a long time. And it's like now my youngest is 10 going on 11. So it's like I'm free in a way from those little people that have been taking up so much of my time and attention, that it's like now I'm like, I get a second chance at my 20s. So I'm planning on living it up for the next.
What types of things do you have on your bucket list of life? And you might not know, but it's fascinating that you would say I get to redo my 20s. I would not want to redo my 20s.
Really?
Oh, I guess you knew me most of my 20s. You didn't know me all my 20s.
I didn't know you all your 20s, but
you knew me most of my 20s, and I guess that was a fun season. Okay, that's fair enough.
I mean, when you consider the freedom that you have in your 20s. And and being so young and dumb, it's like you don't even realize the freedom that you have.
Sure.
So what am I going to do? Well, I'm kicking off my 50s with a big trip. I am going to be walking the Camino Santiago, or the Way of St. James, to a cathedral in Santiago de Compostela.
Oh, you're
in
so
Spain.
good. You're so good at
and
Spanish.
This is where tradition holds that St. James the Apostle is buried.
Okay.
So for hundreds and hundreds of years, people have made pilgrimage to this cathedral for various spiritual reasons, and people still walk the way of St. James as a spiritual pilgrimage, maybe for solitude and silence and just seeking.
So how long of a walk is this?
It varies depending on where you start. You can start in France. There are many traditional paths from France, from Germany. I'm going from Portugal. Some of the walks are 30 or 60 days. My walk will be 10 days. So I'm walking Portugal to Spain in 10 days, about 170 miles. So, yeah. So
what do you hope to... So I already knew a bit about this, of course, before the podcast, but I don't know this. What are you hoping, what causes this to make a bucket? Like walking approximately 20 miles a day by yourself, what causes a person to put that type of adventure on their bucket list, and what do you hope to accomplish?
I don't think I'm necessarily hoping to accomplish anything except finishing, just finishing. It's a test of endurance. It's not necessarily hard walking. The walk that I'm doing is mostly flat. There are some walks from France that you are walking over the Pyrenees Mountains, it's a much more challenging walk. But I'm just doing more flat walk. I'm not going over any mountains or anything like that. But to me, I'm challenging my endurance myself. I am after...
Is it a physical challenge or a spiritual challenge?
It's a physical challenge. It's a spiritual challenge. It's a mental challenge because it's not even necessarily 100% fun. It's not like going to Disney World every day and you're, seeing all kinds of exciting things and going on rides and things like that. It's, it gets monotonous and boring and lonely, especially going by yourself. So I want to go on this walk, and I'm asking the Lord to show up and walk with me and just be in communion with the Lord as I walk and see what he talks to me about. After being married for 25 years.
You need to take a long walk?
Got to take a long walk, be by myself for a few minutes. No, every decision that I make in my life is tied to at least one other person, if not 5 other people, if not a whole church of people. Every decision I make is from what are we going to eat for dinner to, how are we arranging our family calendar is determined by so many different things. So having 10 days where I make every single decision based on myself and what I want to do, the pace that I want to walk, when I want to rest, what I want to eat, where I'm going to sleep is all determined on myself and what I want to do without having to take into consideration anybody else. It'll be interesting to have that freedom.
Since we're so good at journaling, I only say this kind of, but you should journal.
I am planning on journaling, taking pictures and journaling and, just kind of marking places where I was and what I was thinking or learning or, Yeah,
that's fascinating.
So I'm not really doing it for fun, although I do think I will have fun and I'm really going to enjoy myself. But it's not a fun trip. It's not a sightseeing trip to Paris or something like that. This is, it's going to be a challenge. And I want to challenge myself as I go into this new decade and, find out what I'm capable of. I think when I was in my 20s, I didn't know what I was capable of, didn't know who I was, didn't know what I wanted to do.
Probably didn't even know to think about those things.
No, you're just like, okay, everybody's asking you the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? And what do you want to do? And you think and you do a career path or whatever. But I'm not a planner. I know that there are some people that were in their 20s and they knew I'm going to go to this school and I'm going to work this job and this is where I'm going to end up and I will be married by the time I'm 30. I wasn't like that. But I just want to challenge myself to say, okay, you're not irrelevant. You're halfway through your life, but what are you still capable of? You know, trying new things, new career, whatever. Yeah.
New career. Wow.
We'll see.
Wow.
If this podcasting thing doesn't work out, we'll see what else is out there.
Hey, on a quick side note, I don't know if this has happened to you or not, but I have received texts and seen people around the community that are like, thank you, you guys are back. In fact, there's a lady and her daughter. So a lady that's older than us, and then she has an adult daughter that's married. She said, my daughters and I listen to your podcast individually in our own homes and everything. And then we have a text where we just start pinging each other with, what'd you think about this? How do you feel about this? It's like their very own virtual book club. That's so sweet. So anyway, we're going to have to make sure this is a very riveting episode. Keep their attention.
Yes.
So
what else is interesting going on?
Well, I have a question for you because this might be your week. I mean, you're the one with the very important, monumental birthday.
Yes.
So what does 50-year-old Heather, what advice does 50-year-old Heather have for 20-year-old Heather? And what advice does 20-year-old Heather have for 50-year-old Heather? What would your 20-year-old self say to you? And what would your 50-year-old self say to a younger version of you? Given all this knowledge, you still feel like you're in your 20s, but you just have so much more experience and knowledge. And so we have high school listeners. This might really help them. Set them up for.
I told you not to ask me this question.
I'm sorry.
These are not questions that I'm good at. I don't give advice. Like, people come to me
I give everybody advice.
Yeah, people come to me and ask for advice, and I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. You're on your own.
I give everybody advice, and in my older age, I pretty regularly start it with, take this with a grain of salt. Take it or leave it. Because I don't care if you take the advice or not, but if you're going to ask for it, I'm going to give it. I would say, I'll go.
Yeah, you go.
I'll answer. I would say my younger self to my older self, I think my 20-something self would say to me, loosen up. Like, I think I am too, I'm pretty loose. I don't think I just let myself enjoy the moment like I would have when I was younger. I think that comes with age and responsibility and a better understanding of the consequences of your actions and things. But I think that there's times to just loosen up and just have more fun in life, to not worry quite so much about the consequences and responsibilities. Now, I don't mean be irresponsible, but I think my younger self would say to my older self, loosen up. And I think my older self to my younger self would say, take care of your body. And I don't mean... I don't mean like care so much what you look like in the mirror or anything like that, but I got diagnosed with chronic fatigue when I was in college, and there's debates out there if chronic fatigue is a mental health issue or if it's a medical issue or somewhere in between, but I'm really tired most of my adult life, and I think that is a consequence of a pretty wild and irresponsible life. Not getting this sounds like an old woman, but not getting the sleep I needed. I could binge on like a project at school. I could not sleep for 3 days in order to get it done and then, really crash. And I'm sure my college kid doesn't want me to call him and tell him this, so I'm not going to, but sleep your 7 to 9 hours a night every night. Just do it. Yeah. Just please do it. I think I would be a better 47, almost 48-year-old had I taken better care of myself when I was younger. So maybe the younger version needed to tighten up a little bit, and my older self needs to loosen up a little bit. I don't know. Have as much fun as you can. Take risks. Yeah. Most decisions in your 20s are not life-altering decisions. Like, go to the concert. Spend the money, not too much money. Don't go in debt, but have some fun, make some experiences.
It's just like, I don't know, just making it too complicated.
Yeah.
I don't know. All the stuff that you think you need, when you're 20, you don't really need.
Like, what do you mean?
Oh, clothes and, that frivolous stuff that you think is so important that's just like, everybody's got this or everybody's doing this, that I need this, that it really doesn't matter. Those aren't the things that are going to make you happy. They're not the things that matter.
Raising kids, you of course have lots of ups and lots of downs with kids. I told your kids this the other day, and you thought it was so funny. This might help the whole world. But I was talking to your daughter who's almost 20, and then your son that is just 18. And we were talking about favorite kids or something. And, your parents are not supposed to have favorite children. You're absolutely not supposed to. But you know what? In my family, I do it different. I have favorite kids, and it changes all the time.
Yeah.
And so I was saying how Chase is my favorite. He's my 16-year-old. And Elliot's like, really? Huh. And I'm like, he hasn't always been. Like a couple of years ago, I didn't even like him. And Elliot laughed so hard.
Elliot and Lucy thought that was so funny.
I thought it was so funny.
And they thought it was unbelievable. I could see their faces like, unbelievable that your mom would not like you.
She can't even say that. But it is so true. There are seasons in life, whether you're parenting or newly married or what have you, that you just don't like the person.
Yeah.
And so you just stick it out and the tides will change, hopefully.
The tides will change. Yeah, I was laughing when you said that, and Lucy and Elliot are laughing because I'm laughing because, yes, there are days and times where I don't enjoy your company very much.
So hard. But I was thinking Cooper is not in his 20s. He's 19. So he's almost there. So he's knocking on 20's door. You're knocking on 50, or you're at 50 and he's knocking on 20. But there's so much growth happens when you first move out of your parents' house. So like he's sick for the first time. So he's like, Mom, what do you think I should go to the doctor? And here's my symptoms. And what do you do? And I told him this story. I'm going to stay focused right after this. I told him this story. This is a picture of my 20-year-old self that might still behave this way at 48. Probably so. When I got sick for the first time in college, I lived in my sorority house, and I remember I had taken NyQuil, and it was just about to sweep me under. Like I was just about to fall asleep. You can still, if you're not feeling good, you can still hear people talking, and it's like, please shut up. And our house was like kind of an L shaped. So out of my bedroom window, I could see across the L into other people's bedroom windows, and I could hear people talking, but I could see who it was. I could see the conversation I was hearing, and I felt so poorly, and I was so tired, and it was still in the day of landline. So I saw who it was, so I picked it up, and I called their number, and I just go, shh, and hung up on them, because they wouldn't know who called them.
Yeah.
So I told that story to Cooper as like your first sickness at college, and Chase goes, you haven't changed a bit, Mom. Which is like, that was so rude. And I'm like, I'd probably still do that. And if I thought I could call you and you wouldn't know it was me, I would call and shush you.
Yeah.
Now I don't
would.
Even. Yeah, I would.
Or you wouldn't even care that they knew it was you. You would still
be quiet for the love of the Lord, because I'm sick.
Close your door.
I don't feel well. I don't feel well. I was going to go somewhere very profound with this. But now I don't know.
Cooper's knocking on 20s, growing up.
Yeah.
He's
one
growing
thing,
so much as a young adult.
One of the things I've encouraged him with, which I'm not a perfect parent. I'm sure you guys are shocked. They probably thought I was before I said that, but I'm not. But one thing I've worked really hard at is to make sure that as my kids are launching, that they know that the decisions you're making right now about career and decision on what to major in college and all, just start moving, and you're going to have probably, I don't know what the average now is, how many career changes people have, or you're going to change your mind. You're going to move in a direction and have to take a step to the left. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. Just get moving and take your studies seriously, but there should not be all this crazy pressure on you. Let's just step into your next season. And his first semester was kind of hard. He was lonely at school, has some really great friends, but you're just not always with your friends, and different than living in a house with a bunch of people all the time. Then at the end of his first semester, his roommate decided to go online. So he's in a room by himself now. So he's lonelier. He's super extroverted and just trying to navigate these feelings of like, I'm around all these thousands of people, but I'm kind of not, and I feel lonely. And so we just really challenged him to, take every opportunity, join a club, join an activity, play intramurals, saying all the things that I'm sure he's going, wah, 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 not really listening to. But he has gotten a bit more involved. And so we had a family Valentine's dinner, and he's starting to come alive. And was like, you guys are never going to believe this, and was just telling us different opportunities he's having on campus and with friend groups, and just he really seems to be soaring. He still doesn't know what he wants to do when he grows up.
No.
But he's learning how to navigate life outside of our house, which is a huge learning. And so to my 20-year-old self, when I watch him, I just go, have fun, meet more people, enlarge your circle of friends.
Sign up for go to all the things. Yes. Sign up for the things.
You have more energy than you're going to have in any other season of your life. Like one day I asked him if he'd come move some furniture for me. He's like, I'm really busy today. So I was just like, that's fine. But I'm just thinking, no, you're not. You're not really busy, but it's fine. And I mean, I'm sure he was, but doing college type of busy stuff. So I don't know. I would encourage people to use all your gifts, use all your talents, give it a try. Try something you kind of want to do. And if you fail, pick yourself up and try something different.
And I think we put so much, especially when we're younger, what other people are going to think about us.
Yeah, comparison and
all of that. And it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter.
I would tell my 20-something-year-old self to wear wilder clothes. I don't mean like scandalous. I don't mean like inappropriate. Just I have over my lifetime liked some clothes that are just a little bit different than like the standard. And I've never let myself do it for fear of embarrassment or what would somebody think. And I don't even mean like short skirt or anything like that. I have one single time in my life I've been to Paris, and walking up and down the streets of Paris, I'm like, I wish I lived here. Everyone just does their own thing.
Yes.
There was like, you'd walk down one block and see like 50 different styles.
It is so inspirational.
Yeah.
You're just like, to see people just being themselves.
Yeah.
There's so much conformity in the United States where you wear jeans and a sweater and sneakers.
Wow. Yeah, you just nailed us.
I mean,
at least
you do.
In our culture.
That's what I'm going to wear today. I'm going to wear my sweater and my jeans.
That is funny because in my closet right now, because it's still cool outside, there's like a bunch of sweaters and a bunch of different jeans, and that's pretty much it.
I have things in my closet that I think that would be fun to wear, but then I put it on and I still am like, somebody's going to think I'm a weirdo if I show up wearing this.
Yeah. Well, think how much more, and I don't know how we would say that to our 20-something selves, but think how much more our young people have to deal with that now because they're on their phones all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, their phones are telling them what they should wear, what they should look like, what anti-aging stuff they should put on their face, what weight they should be.
I think there's an Instagram account called like Tulsa OOTD.
Outfit of the day?
Yeah.
I'm very hip.
Have you seen this, Quinn? No?
I have not.
No. Well, I have not really looked at it. Somebody told me about it because they
Tulsa's
saw somebody
outfit of the
that they
day.
knew was on it.
Tulsa's pretty casual, so it wouldn't really probably be that exciting, in my opinion.
But
a lot of jeans and sweaters.
There'd be a lot of jeans and sweaters. It is interesting, the different one generation to another. When I was 40, I wasn't even an older mom. I wasn't even an older mom for like Cooper and Chase's grades. But a mom, I came to a sports practice with no makeup on, like I'd worked out or whatever. So, which, true to form, I did that in my 20s and I still do it today. Like if you see me most days, I've got my workout clothes on and no makeup, and sorry, it's just what I look like. But I was unattractive, I guess. So be it. At a sports practice, and a mom, and she very innocently said this. She wouldn't remember. It's one of those comments that like must pierce your heart because you can remember it all these years later. But I know that she didn't mean it ugly. But she said something to me about my appearance. And she said, well, I guess once you turn 40, you don't really care. And for some reason, all these years later, I remember, and she is probably a full 10 years younger than me, so a generation younger. But in her mind, 40 was old. And so maybe you don't care about putting yourself together anymore or whatever. I'm just like, what is even happening right now? Anyway, I think every 10 years, there's a whole different set of insecurities and issues and thoughts about how you see people older than you and how you view people younger than you. And even the thought that I would go like, you want a girl to ask a guy out? And I'm like offended by that. And then I go, wait a second, did that 25 years ago. It's totally fine. Anyway, It's just aging is a fascinating topic.
Yeah. Even, I mean, that mom, that's what's important to her.
Right.
Which might have been the way she was raised. It might just be her internal wiring, might be an insecurity, but that's, you go out and your hair and your makeup, and you don't leave the house without, everything put together.
Yeah.
Down to your toes.
I do think that there are some insecurities that people have that should not be overlooked, that should be really addressed and dealt with. But there are people that really, like, I hate to say that every insecurity is something that you just cast down and don't take that and move forward. If I would have cast down every insecurity I have, I never would have gotten help for my mental health issues. I never would have gotten on medication, and I would still be spiraling. So I do think it's worth saying that there are insecurities that you don't just say, oh, I'm not going to let that bother me. I'm just going to move on. I think there's plenty of things that really point to a bigger issue that really should be dealt with. So I don't want to overlook that.
I think that we harm ourselves because we're trying to keep up with what society says that we should be, instead of, let's talk about Hollywood.
Yeah.
How,
let's do it.
It's like now that I'm older, when I was younger, I would look at those people, somebody, and I'd be like, oh, I wish I looked like that or something, or, boy, they look so good. What I don't even remember specific, but you see somebody with abs and a flat stomach, and it doesn't matter what I weighed, I never had a flat stomach.
Sure.
Like I was 20 and somebody asked me if I was pregnant because my stomach, my body build, my stomach always pooches. Yeah. Whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't love it.
Think how much easier it was for us, though, when we grew up, because you think, like, even you talking about celebrities and seeing the images that are put out for us. You saw what in YM magazine? I didn't even read magazines, so I think that was one. But like Young Miss magazine or Cosmo or whatever, that came out once a month.
Yeah.
Or if they were on Entertainment Tonight, which I didn't watch. Other than that, like, when would you have even seen what they looked like when their movie dropped? Like, you couldn't see them every day like people can today. You couldn't compare yourself to Hollywood or the people put out on algorithms. Or we couldn't see them all the time. They weren't in front of us all the time. So the people in front of you were your classmates and
But what I know now that I didn't know when I was 20 was those people are starving themselves. Like what we see is this glamorous thing.
Yeah.
But they're actually like not eating food.
How do you know that?
I think that's kind of common knowledge now.
Okay, I'm just curious.
Because
I don't follow enough celebrities to know if they're eating or not.
I don't think it's the norm. Like if you really look at some people, if you see them on the red carpet in a sleeveless gown and you look at their arms, they are starving themselves. They have no muscle to be a size that they're supposed to be. And we look at that, and those are the sizes that are presented to us of this is how you should be.
Sure.
This is the size that you should be. When I know that that's not reality.
I'm sure every woman, because I act like I have zero insecurities, I do occasionally when I'm like putting my makeup on or whatever, look at my face and go like, when did this happen? Mm-hmm. Like when did I look this age? Because in my heart, like you said, I still feel 20 or something. I feel very young. And then sometimes I'm just like, wow, you really are older. You really are a very mature woman. And I'm sure that some of that would have happened no matter what. But now I'm like everyone else on my phone. And so the images you see of people that are, doctored with filters or Photoshop, or do people still use Photoshop? Is that still a thing in real life?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know if we'd moved beyond that or not. But, just like people's flawless faces and things. Of course, I just can't imagine. And I have to believe, I said this, I taught high school chapel back in January. And I said, this younger generation is known as being apathetic and lazy and unmotivated and undisciplined. And what I was saying was all those negative words to our student body in particular, and saying, but that's not you. And then I started talking about what I've seen their school accomplish in the last year. But that's not you, because I've seen you guys do this and I've seen you guys do this. And so our future is safe in your hands. You are disciplined. You can do this. You do have the mind of Christ, really trying to encourage them. So I have to trust that our younger generation, Quinn, our producer at 26 years old, who her algorithms are going to tell her to worry about aging and worry about this. She's made for this. She's made for this. She's made to withstand that storm and to come out on the other side. But it can't be easy.
No.
It can't be easy having all these pictures in front of you all the time.
No.
So part of my overconfidence is not having had to walk through that storm. So,
yeah.
I think there's such an importance of parents being aware of what their kids are inundated with.
Yeah.
As well, because there's always a disconnect between younger and older generations.
Yeah.
But it's you can do some work to bridge it. And if parents don't understand the social pressure, beauty comparison, all of that specifically their daughters are facing, how can they...
You know what is fascinating? When you said that, it made me think how many, and this is probably just showing up on my algorithms, so this might be false information, but how many people I'm seeing right now that are Hollywood types that are not allowing their kids social media. Mm-hmm. And it's probably because they know exactly how much of that is not real, because it's them. Yeah. It's the pictures of themselves that are made to look amazing. And I just find it fascinating that here our middle-class America wearing their jeans, tennis shoes, and sweaters are giving our kids social media at 12 years old. Mm-hmm. And then the people who are pictured on social media are not my kids. Nobody's, my kids aren't having social media. This is so detrimental to their health. We're never going to, it's just interesting.
Or the tech giants.
Yeah, tech giants
founders and stuff. Their own kids aren't allowed.
Yeah. And that's not a knock on someone who's given their kids social media too young. I did it with my first two. I mean, God's grace is on you. You can walk it out and work through it and all that. And I have an uphill battle ahead of me because I intend to not let Eleanor have social media for some time. But even in my own mind, I'm just man, how are we going to do this?
Yeah.
How are you going to hold steady on this?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't want anyone to feel less than if you've already allowed your child, because I don't know how I'm going to do it yet. So
my youngest daughter is super introverted, super homebody of homebodies.
Yeah.
And track season is coming up, and she's in 5th grade. And so the school that they go to, they have track for 5th and 6th grade students. It's basically a field trip. There's no extra practice or anything like that. It's 2 days. You ride the bus to wherever the track meet is, and you sit and have a picnic with your friends and walk around, and you get something from the snack bar, and you run a race once or twice, and it's over.
Yeah.
And you have fun. It's no big deal. I said to her, I was 5th and 6th grade track signups are out. Do you want to do that? And she immediately burst into tears and was no, I don't want to do that. And I was why not? And she goes, I'm afraid.
Oh, wow.
And,
wow. What is she afraid of?
Well, we told her to journal, and I brought it up with her dad.
We are such good role models. So just let me help you with this. You need to journal.
And I brought it up with her dad, and she was there, and I was track season's here, and she's plays it cool at first. And she's no, I'm good. And then I said, and B doesn't want to do it. And he's like, you don't want to do it. Why not? And she again starts crying, and she's like, I'm afraid. And
well, bravo for her for being willing to tell you guys that.
Yeah.
But carry on.
So she just was so upset. And we were like, well, you know what? We would not be doing our job if we let you not do track just because you're afraid. And so she is going to do track, and she's going to show up to 2 track meets and run her heart out and maybe cry while she's running. But she's going to learn the lesson of, I'm going to do this afraid, even whatever it might be. And we told her to journal. Are you afraid of people looking at you? Are you afraid of doing a bad job? Are you afraid of being the slowest? Are you afraid of falling down? Which she's run in other races and done quite well.
I'm giggling only because I'm thinking, I'm afraid of running. No, just but that wouldn't be her response. Like me, like I just don't like to run. Like I just
she might not like to run, but it's just like, okay, but at least try it and find out, why are you getting this emotional response?
Yeah.
Maybe you think you don't like it, but actually you realize it's hard to get to that start line, but I love crossing the finish line.
Yeah.
What is it?
Well, you're kind of a family of runners. So I do, like, hearing you say that, I'm kind of like, why would you make any kid run track? But I'm not a family of runners. But I would do that in a different setting. I would certainly do that.
Yeah.
So wow.
It's a small thing that she can say, okay, I'm afraid, and I'm going to do this afraid and figure out why I'm afraid.
Yeah.
And
there's so many lessons in that. Eleanor auditioned for this musical that she got cast in, and then because practices started over the winter months, it was like they practiced once. She didn't know anyone in the show. They practiced once. She didn't really meet anyone. Then we had that cold snap where everything in Tulsa was shut down for a few days. So then she had 2 practices canceled. Then she wasn't called for the next practice. And then she attends that practice. And then she's not called for the next practice. And it ended up being like over 2 months' time, she'd only been like 2 practices. So she doesn't know anybody, and other people are in different scenes. So they're going more and they're making friends, and they've been in other shows together. All this insecurity of, nobody likes me. No one talks to me when I'm there.
I don't know anybody.
Is it too late to quit? Mm-hmm. Yes, it's too late to quit. I don't want to go. Please don't make me go. Please, 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 please don't make me go. I'm just like, go ahead. So then I'm like quoting scriptures that are, but not to quote them that are like to Bible thumper, but I'm just like, the Bible says, if you want friends, to show yourself friendly. So let's just use this as a practice.
Yeah.
Like you go in there and you look around at some people that you think, I might fit in with you. I might or might not, but I think I might fit in with you, and just be nice to them. What's something you could say? Oh, your sweater and jeans look so cute today.
I love the way you put that
Tulsa.
combo together.
I love those athletic shoes with that sweater and jeans. You're adorable. Find something to compliment them on or to ask them a question. I said, if you're really brave, you could say to them, I don't know anyone here. Would you mind if for this practice, if I just sit with you and your friends? Mm-hmm. I said, they'll have to be really brave to tell you no.
Yeah.
And if they do, then that's on them. Then they are mean.
Yeah.
Like if you put yourself out there and you make it sound like you're not asking them to like look after you the rest of their lives, but just like, I don't actually know anybody in the whole play. Would it be okay if today I sit with you and your friends? And so she wasn't brave enough to do that one, but she did start complimenting people. And she's just like, it is so crazy. Like you start being super nice to everybody and they're just like really super nice back.
Yeah, they want to be with you.
So now she has someone that is following her around, and she's like, that's not what I wanted. She actually don't want to be friends with her. And I'm just like, well, beggars can't be choosers. For this show, she's your friend. Enjoy. But yeah, so I would tell my 20-year-old self back to that. Take some risks. Have some fun. Put yourself out there. Do it afraid.
Yeah.
If your mom never
the guy
taught
out.
You, oh my gosh, I don't know about that one. Ask the guy out.
I
was pretty forward with Brian, so I don't know why I did. Like, really? Ask the guy out? I pretty much asked Brian out, and I pretty much kissed him first. So I guess I don't know why I'm so offended. It's because I'm old now, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we do not do that. Except for I did, but not anymore. That's not how ladies behave. Isn't it funny what happens to you as you age? Like that I would go, Heather, And then I was like, oh, wait a second. Yeah, it didn't
I
seem,
did do that.
Didn't seem so inappropriate 25 years ago.
Did your mom know that you did that?
No, my mom is an older generation. We didn't talk about things like that.
Okay, so she wouldn't have said, how did you meet him? And how did he ask you out?
Well, how I met him was volunteering. I didn't lay one on him in the volunteer session, so it wouldn't have come up with him. It wouldn't have come up in my conversation.
Yeah.
No. But Eleanor thinks a boy is cute. That's it. As well she should at her age, so all good. But she had confided in her teacher, and her teacher said, does your dad know? And Eleanor goes, no, I don't tell my dad things like this. So her teacher and I were talking, and she said, hey, do you know that she thinks a boy's cute? And I said, oh, yeah, I know. She's like, oh, because she said her dad didn't know, and I just thought. And I was like, oh, her dad knows everything I tell him, and he knows. And so on Valentine's Day, this conversation came up, and Eleanor's like, you told Dad? And Brian was just like, I am such a safe person to talk to about this stuff. So all good. And just dropped it, moved on.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I'm sowing the seeds for you. You can tell me anything. But did I tell my mom anything? No. If she listens to the podcast, she's probably monthly shocked. Just shocked and
Jamie,
appalled.
I raised you to be a better girl than that. You're supposed to be a nice girl. You don't chase boys. You make them chase you.
I told Cooper at college because at one point he felt like, you know, he's had a couple of relationships that didn't turn out the way he originally thought they would, and now he's just waiting for some girl to chase him down. And I was like, that's weird.
Yeah.
But kind of that's what I did accidentally.
Well,
So
I
anyway.
mean, if you meet him and you think he's nice,
You just want him to know that-
send some
yeah.
signals.
Yeah.
But the guys that I always liked best were the ones.
Bad boys? No, I
not
did.
necessarily.
Okay.
But they were the ones that were bold enough to come up and say, I think
Knock on
you're
your
cute.
window at a movie?
Well, I did that.
Oh, you knocked on Whit's window at the
I
movie.
did do that.
That's right. I was
But
thinking
that was
vice
just
versa.
friendly. That was just friendly. But the boys that were bold enough to come up to me and say, you're cute, will you go out with me? Essentially. Those were the ones I was like, yeah, instead of sending their friend or, some weird, note through, it's just like, you want the guy that's bold.
See, just so you know, just so that everybody knows, like the way that I was forward with Brian was enabling him to ask me out.
Yes.
I didn't actually ask him out. This was way back in the days of email correspondence. So we volunteered together. He volunteered at an event that I was hosting. So I was sending thank yous to all the people. I sent a group email to all the people that helped. Thank you so much, blah, blah, blah. This meant so much to these students. But I sent Brian an individual email because I'm smart.
Yeah.
So at the end of the email, I asked a question.
So he'd have to email you back.
Well, he wouldn't have to, but he could.
As long as he's not rude.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been like out of place to email me back. Like if there's any interest at all, I just set it up where you have an easy in.
There you go. That's not ask that you're
Yeah.
you're a good girl.
Well, we emailed back and forth for a really long time, and he at work it was so funny because I worked with all these young 20-something girls, and so he emailed me back, however many hours later, emailed me back, and ended it with a question. I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys, he asked me a question. And so you hurry and email back and ask a question, send. And it was like this back and forth, how long do you wait before you email again and ask another question? And we went back and forth. And at one point, and we were ended up sharing our life stories basically over email over the course of, I don't know, a couple of months. And he said, we email each other so much, it feels like we're writing a book or something like that. To which I responded, what chapter do we meet? So I kind of asked him out.
Yeah.
But question mark.
Yeah.
What chapter do we meet? Question mark.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And then he can
The
either
rest is
ignore
history.
that question.
Yeah, the rest is
or-
history. He
yeah.
asked me out. We went out. We fell in love.
Yeah.
I kissed him. He kissed me back.
Yeah.
Told him to marry me. I'm kidding. I didn't do that.
But essentially you did.
I essentially did, yeah.
Yeah.
That's smooth. What chapter do we meet?
I'm very good with words, guys. I'm just kidding. Do you feel like, looking back, since we're talking a lot back and forth with age, do you feel like you dealt with anxiety about getting older? As you've aged, have you had anxiety about getting older? Dealt with any insecurities or?
I think when I was in my 20s and 30s, I didn't think about it too much. I, washed my face occasionally and used some lotions a little bit, but I didn't really start thinking about anti-aging until I was in my 30s. Later 30s, later 30s, maybe even 40s I didn't start thinking about anti-aging. But I was thinking about this the other day. I do remember, so I always kind of been the same size. Losing baby weight or anything was like not a big deal. But I'm not one that loves to work out. Mm-hmm. So I would do a sporadic working out maybe. There was a season that I ran a lot because I enjoyed running. I wasn't working out like to get a certain kind of body, but my body has always looked the same. Yeah. And even in my 20s or in my 30s after having kids, even thinking about lumpy parts of my body and things like, oh, even though don't weigh very much, thinking, oh, it's so lumpy and you could do some sit-ups, take care of this. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. Take care of it. Now, knocking on 50 and knocking on menopause, my body is changing again and gaining weight that I'm not just able to lose. Yeah. And still thinking that my body is lumpy. And I saw a video of myself. Was looking at old pictures and I saw a video of myself and I was just like, you were so thin.
Yeah, you were tiny.
And you were, I imagine it's some form of body dysmorphia of looking at yourself and being dissatisfied with, the way that you look or something like when I was in my 20s, it was magazines. Sure. Now it's social media, but realizing, even then I realized I'm being influenced by these magazines and put them away, but you're still unhappy. And I wasn't doing a lot to change it. But I think, and now that I'm 50, I'm thinking, how do you love and appreciate your body, that it's gotten me this far?
Yeah.
How do I take care of it and appreciate it for what it is and not torture it into trying to be something that it's not?
Right.
And something that I would tell my 20-year-old self as well.
Yeah.
Like, enjoy your body. Be kind to your body.
Yeah. Now, I didn't grow up in a time with social media, so I was out just living my life. I wasn't really thinking too much. I did care how I looked in certain clothes. I did wish I could fit in things that I couldn't. I did wish I could wear styles that just aren't suited for me. But I've always been pretty confident. So it's kind of like, other than the once a year try on 75 bathing suits to find one that actually fits and looks nice on you, other than that one day a year or the other day of the year where you try to buy new jeans and you're like, oh my gosh, why are these so tight? Really, other than that, I was just pretty pleased with myself and with my body, just choosing to be happy with, like you said, with what God has given you. I think especially as we are the older generation, I think it's our responsibility to pour that into our younger generation who are being forced with comparison and social media ads that unless we tell our kids, the algorithms are focused on your insecurities. They know what you pause on, and then they exploit everything you're insecure about. They exploit. They want you to buy all of their products. And so if they see you pause on anything that talks about weight loss or anti-aging or whatever, you're going to be bombarded. And it's not true. It's not true. So I talked to Eleanor a lot about celebrating the body God's given us, and our bodies are strong. And I do talk to her about exercise and working out to be healthy, not to change how you look, but to be healthy so you can live a long life. And I was talking to a girl who texted me because she said our podcast was so wonderful, a friend from the church, but she's like, I'm in the same season, body changing and things like this. She's actually getting ready. Hopefully it's okay I say this. I haven't said her name. So getting ready to have a hysterectomy, which is really kind of messing with me. Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah. In some regards, whether you're done having children or not, you're done after that. Mm-hmm. And she is done having kids, but it's still like where you just go, whoa, I'm way different than I was before. And she's feeling a little bit sad. And she said something about like, I know God is good through all of this. And I'm like, God is good and your body has been really good to you. Mm-hmm. She's like, you're right. But seriously, and she has had the ability, thank God, she's had the ability to have children and the things. But I'm like, your body has really been so good to you.
Yeah.
And now it's just moving into a different season.
Yeah.
But I think that maybe, I don't think when I asked the question, what would you tell your 20-something-year-old self? I don't think I ever would have thought to say that. But especially if you're a Christ follower, I mean, there are changes that you can make. You should be healthy. You should be a healthy weight because your body's the temple of the Holy Spirit. You should take care of it. So don't misunderstand me to say like it's like if you are obese and your doctor's suggesting you lose weight, you should then. Mm-hmm. But I don't think we should be so twirled up with body image that it's the end all be all.
A certain size or a certain shape
it's
or anything
certain
like
health
that.
level.
Yeah. That's what I would probably want my 20 that would be like the thing that I would want my 20-year-old self to know is like you only get one body from your teeth to your eyes, you only get one body.
Right.
Take care of it. Floss your teeth,
I'm like, oh my gosh. Don't call me out on the podcast about flossing my teeth.
I still don't like to floss my teeth.
I don't do it very much.
But dental health is one of the most important things that you can do to take care of your heart.
Your heart?
Yes.
I had no idea.
Yes.
And thank God for the areas of your life that just come naturally because we all have certain ones of those. Like I didn't go to the dentist, you know this. I didn't go to the dentist for 10 years. And it just kind of accidentally. I know that sounds ridiculous.
It does happen accidentally.
But like my dentist retired and so then I need to find a new dentist and then I'm busy and then you'll have to become a new patient. You got to fill out paper. I just didn't do it for a whole 10 years. Mm-hmm. And I just randomly have pretty good teeth to where they're just like, it's hard to believe you haven't been to the dentist in 10 years. Your teeth look great. I'm like, oh, thanks. But I've got all kinds of different issues. I've got chronic fatigue. I've got, there's other things I've got to take care of. So thank God for the things that come relatively natural to you. And the things that are difficult, everybody's got them. So you're fine.
Yeah.
You're fine.
But that would be 20-year-old self is take care of yourself. You only have one body.
Yeah.
Because it's going to have to last you for 100 years.
Do you really want to live to be 100?
I don't.
Okay, I don't either. Just in case anybody cares, I've got an update on my dad.
I'd love to
We
hear
haven't
about your
talked about
dad.
him in so long. So my dad is 81 and stage 4 lung cancer, and his health has kind of been up and down. So in November, we did not think he would make it until Christmas. He was doing very poorly. This is like so frustratingly sad. The medications that he was on to fight the cancer worked and put all of his cancer kind of at a standstill. It's a terminal type of cancer, like it doesn't go away, but it put everything at a standstill. But it was immunotherapy. It was doing its job so well that it somehow passed the brain barrier, which it's not supposed to. And he had those tumors removed in his brain. It was landing in those little pockets and building up. But immunotherapy is not supposed to go into your brain. And so it's building up in those pockets, and then his brain wasn't sure what to do with it. So it started necrosis, which is eating away at the tissue. So everything that worked to stunt the growth of cancer was then eating his brain. So sad. But they figured out what it was, gave him a different medication. It has stopped the necrosis. So he's doing great. Whoa.
Yeah.
He is not cognitively who he was 2 years ago, but he's pretty stinking good. And he thinks I'm real funny.
So he's a little bit better.
Yes. Like he doesn't get frustrated with me and he thinks I'm funny. So he's doing pretty good. So he was like, he could barely get up. He couldn't walk to the bathroom unassisted, couldn't walk to the bathroom without losing his breath. Very, very weak, moaned in his sleep. Like the whole time he would sleep for like 20 hours a day, just moaning. It was just like, it was hard to be at their house because it's just like, oh, he sounds like he's in pain, but he'd wake up, he didn't remember it.
Yeah.
And just, ugh. But anyway, he can't do a lot of things. Thank God, since last summer, he doesn't drive anymore.
Yeah.
So praise the Lord for that.
We don't need him
for
on the road.
everyone's safety. Thank goodness for that. So they've gone through some hard things like sell his truck, and they're down to one vehicle. Just things that's just like the end of ever driving and things like that. But he's just fun. He's really, really pleasant. So like you said, it's sort of, I mean, if he's going to be pleasant like this. Great.
Yeah.
Great. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So
That's great.
yeah, I would tell my 40-year-old self to be nicer to your parents. You know,
Oh
you
my
don't,
gosh.
you
True.
don't know what you don't know. And I'm pretty sure every generation ahead of us is doing the best they can.
I remember having conversations with my dad and telling him, "You don't, you don't know.
understand,
You don't
or you don't-
understand."
Now we're the old ones and we're like, oh my gosh, what we do understand.
Yeah,
We actually do.
Okay, Dad was right.
Yeah. It just comes pretty late in life when you can say they did the best they could.
And they did a pretty good job.
I mean, look how wonderful we are. Oh my goodness.
All of that to say is I am still 50 and I am still determining to take care of myself better than I did in my 20s.
Yeah.
And still working on loving the body that I have. And I want to be stronger than I was in my 20s. I know that I am right now.
Yeah.
And
I just helped move a couch upstairs.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very strong.
very strong. Like we lift weights.
We do lift weights. We do.
And I also have a face massager. Like, let's make sure this is all smooth.
Sure.
But I don't know. Yeah, take care of myself, but que sera, sera.
Oh.
I'm on the fence about sunscreen still.
Oh my goodness. Supposedly if you get early morning light on your skin, it's the kind of rays that prepare your face for the intensity of the later rays in the day so that you won't get sunburned. Supposedly. So I wonder if maybe you just went outside every morning at the very earliest morning hours and you got all the right kind of rays that protect your skin, then you wouldn't need to wear sunscreen later in the day because your skin would naturally be protecting itself from those evil rays.
Right.
I heard that from the type of doctor you would follow. So
Okay.
I'm going to send you that information.
We'll see.
Okay, we'll see. So we hope you've had a good day.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you. You know what? Whenever your birthday is, happy birthday. We're so glad you're with us.
Are you saying happy birthday to me or to
No, to the people watching,
To the people.
whenever their
Okay.
birthday is. Because
Yeah.
we're probably not going to talk about birthdays again this year. So happy birthday.
We won't talk about your birthday?
Maybe. I'm only turning 48 this year. It's like not that big of a deal. It's just a normal birthday.
Just a normal
birthday.
an average day.
Just an average day in my life. So anyway, happy birthday to everybody. If you've enjoyed us, like, share, subscribe,
Yeah.
and save. I wish I could give you a discount. I'm going to give you a discount if you join our subscription list. Anyway, thank you. We've had a great time. We'll see you next month.